Get ready for a no crap there I was story. So, I'm over here getting ready to hang an exhaust header. Gotta pull the dipstick out of the way. I had it in there for, keep dirt, dust, and all the things I don't want in my oil pan. Not in there. Come to look at it, there's an O-ring missing. Grab a light, look down that there little hole. See the O-ring. Luckily, it's not down in the pan. I was already starting to dread dropping the pan. Grab a pick. Handy dandy little tool. You may have just noticed something there. Yeah, the 90-degree. Just as I was getting ready to clear the top of that tube, this little plastic pick, the end snapped off, went down the hole. Not even pressing that hard, it's just a cheap plastic tool. Lesson learned, should have used a metal one. Dang. Well, anyway, next step. Grab the oil pan, or the oil catch bucket, slung it under the truck, went to drain the fluid out of it. No luck, didn't work. Dropped another quart of oil down the block itself, down the hole, hoping I'd flush it out. No luck. Dropped another half a quart down the oil dipstick tube hole. No luck. It did drain out into the empty, but no little piece of plastic. It's probably floating around literally the drain plug hole because it's a tiny little piece of plastic and it's light. Next step. I gotta undo these motor mounts and lift up this motor and drop this pan. I gotta get it out of there. I took another one of these tools out in the yard just to see what would happen if I put some heat on it. Even before I got the lighter to it, it started to turn into goo. It didn't even catch on fire, so that means it would melt really easily and clog something. Y'all are about to watch me drop an oil pan. I gotta go fishing. Fishing in an oil pan, here we go. Two steps forward, one step back. All right, motor mounts undone. All the pan bolts are out. Got the cherry picker in here. We're gonna pick it up. That should give us the clearance from the K member to be able to slide that pan out and break that seal. So, wish me luck. So where are we at now? Now, it's time to get in between the gasket and the pan and pry along it until it pops off. I'm gonna be here a while because they sealed it on good. Alright, good news. We learned our lesson. We're never using a plastic pick ever again. We'll get that fished out of there. Get a new gasket ordered. We'll start sealing up that pan. Now y'all might notice, it's a lot darker than it was when I started this disastrous roll down the hill. But engine's gonna sit here for a minute. Gasket will be ordered tonight. But it is a time I didn't expect to ever see this thing. because I was hoping I'd never have to open it up because it was a brand new motor. But my own foolishness and bad luck resulted in me getting to inspect the crank and all the connecting rods. That's a forged crank, forged connecting rods, oil pump, pickup tube. But yeah, unexpected view of inside the motor. Alright, I'm tired, y'all. I'm gonna go get cleaned up and we're gonna do more after we get some stuff ordered. Y'all have a good night. It's a new day. I've slept. I've spent some money on the internet to undo what I've done. First, plastic picks gone, metal picks. Got a new gasket. Doing some, pre-checking before I go to put it on. Notice some things. We'll see if you notice. Let me lay this up here. See how this one's kind of got some indents cut into it? So does the pan. And the reason that's there is on a stroker motor, you got to have more room for your rotating assembly. Because your rotating assembly, that crank with more stroke, needs more room to spin. And down here on the block, see how we've got these itty bitty little indents that are cut into here? These are for your rotating assembly. When it's spinning, it needs that clearance, and you got to make that gasket match. So before I can put any silicone on this, stick a gasket up here and try to reseal this, I got to prep that gasket out. So that's what I'm gonna work on now, getting that gasket prepped out so then we can get it back up here on this thing, because I want to get this motor sealed back up, because I want to be bolting on the other stuff. This saga has really slowed down what I want to be working on. All right, more later. All right, never trimmed a multi-layered gasket before. We're gonna learn together. I've got it laying up here on the bench. I've got it laying on the grid so I can kind of see where the points are and stuff like that. And what I'm gonna do is basically mimic the pattern on this one onto this one. And then once I have that pattern, then we trim it. Don't want to tear up the gaskets because they're not that expensive, but if you have to do this 4 or 5 times, that would be very expensive. So let's go grab a Sharpie of some kind and doodles and scroodles and snippy. This is very much a game of monkey see, monkey do. Take the cutout, transfer it over to the other one. Now I'll get a utensil of some kind and mimic this. And also, while here, it kind of lets you do a little detective work. If you see how they sealed the gasket with silicone, they basically went down the center channel with silicone on the inside of the bolts, down the center, inside the bolt, down the center, inside the bolt, down the center, inside the bolt. That's how they ran their gasket bead on both sides. I'm gonna mimic that because that block was sealed up good. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. All right, I gotta find a thing to trim this and then we'll do the other side. All right, so here's the jig that I've kind of thrown together on the workbench. Piece of 2x4, couple of clamps to hold this in place. I don't want this to move around and bend. I need to precisely grind out just that moon, and then what I'll do is I'll move along and then we'll do the other side. Do I know if this is going to work? Absolutely not. So I'm making it up as I go. These are the tools I'm working with because they're in the shop. Let's see what happens. I'll share it with you. Hopefully I don't trash a $20 gasket. I think this is going to work. Using just a flat disc and very slowly working away the material that I want. I'm only going into this inner line here. I don't want to come into the center because I want these multiple layers here to help seal up the thing. I got a little bit of trimming I need to do like right there, but that's looking really good. And then my precise cutting with the grinder on the workbench. It looks like we did a pretty good job. I did nick the thing a couple places, but both sides, they look legit. Just doing a compare to the previous Artaste. I wonder what tool they used for this. I don't think it was a grinder on a workbench with a couple of quick clamps and a 2x4 though. Alright, I need some lunch. We'll see you in a bit. Let's take a peek and check. It's doing the right things. Lunch turned out really good. While lunch was cooking, I did come out here and clean off the bench, ran the vacuum across it, cleaned up as much of the grinding stuff that I could, grabbed a piece of cardboard out of the recycling bin, because I do want to keep... This is the point where I got to start thinking about clean. Many reasons. I didn't get the piece of plastic out of there to fill the motor full of trash, so clean thoughts. Alright, but here's how our grind job did. We got plenty of room now, and I look along here, I didn't tear up the gasket too badly. Something I was trying to pay attention to when I was grinding was not making that gasket too hot and melting all the rubber too. So it's a kind of a balance act of take some away, check it, let it cool off, take some away, check it, cool off. And it seemed to turn out pretty well. I've never done that before. All right, next step. I gotta get the block prepped. We gotta go down there and clean that off. I've already taken acetone to the pan inside and out. I'm not using these blue paper towels. These will leave trash and stuff because the little blue things that come off of them, don't want that. Bag of microfiber towels, use that on acetone. It'll clean it up, it won't leave little stuff, and it won't get in your oiling system. But anyway, I need to get to work. I need to get the block cleaned off. This is pretty much ready to pre-silicone. Brand new tube of Permatex gasket maker, ultra black, oil resistant, important because it's going into a very oil environment. All right, so I'm gonna start with the pan on this side because it's easier to get to, and then I'll crawl up under the truck and I'll do like the special corners because the special corners have got me worried. I will use this generously because I don't want it to leak, and then we'll let it dry for 24 hours and then I can start putting oil back in this thing. Pretty exciting, actually. Yeah, I am nervous about this. I don't want it to leak, so I'm trying to take my time, do it right. Cut it where it'll make a flat bead. I don't know where the little piece went. It's gone forever. By the way, cool thing to open this. This little pointy bit in there, you don't have to use a screwdriver. You just take it, stab it. Nice hole. All right. Engage Arts and Crafts Happy Place. Hopefully I don't make too much of a mess. I have a feeling I'm gonna make a mess. The humidity is somewhere between all of it and even more of it. Right now, if you open the garage door, it's about 95 outside. And the real feel on the thing makes me laugh because it says it's 114. So we're not opening the garage door today. It's like 89 in here right now. And that's cooler than the 90 something outside. So inside we are. Pre-filling. Because once I start, I want to lay a continuous bead. And I want to try to be even, take my time. One take. So if y'all see me screw up, it'll be here. I'm not going to start in the corner. I'm going to start and go to the corner. I'm going to try to go on the inside of every one of the bolt holes and along that center track all the way around. Theory. Not in the corner. Let's see, is there a way I can have more room? need all the room. Golly, this is gonna take. I'm gonna switch y'all over to time lapse because this is gonna take a while. No turning back now. Trying to seal all along the inside, make sure the corners have got plenty of schmoo in them. All right, we'll get this flipped over and get it on the oil pan, and then we'll do the same thing on that side and then prep the block. All right, wish me luck. This could be messy. Can I just confirm that putting that oil pan in by yourself is a terrible job? Like I said, it's very warm today, but all 20 of the nuts and bolts, well, they're not nuts, they're bolts, they're in. I need to tighten the drain plug. All the schmoo is schmooed out of the corners like I would expect because I put a lot in it. I'll let that sit for about 24 hours before I put any oil and stuff in it, but it is in. I hope it doesn't leak. Wish me luck it doesn't leak. I hope it doesn't leak. I don't think it will. There's enough silicon, or not silicon, but RTV, that black magic goo, that it should be good. It's between the gasket on the pan and the gasket on the block all the way around continuously. So that's what Blueprint did, and it seemed to work really well. So hopefully it works really well for me. Next, let's put the motor back on the purchase, put the motor bolts or the motor mount bolts back in. Then this thing is secure in the frame. I can get this cherry picker out of the way. I think that'll be after that. We're gonna call it a day because it's hot. I don't know about y'all, but dropping a tiny piece of plastic in an engine, don't do it. It's so much work. Learned a cool thing, how to trim a multi-layer gasket. Didn't know how to do that. Got a method now. Back on its perches, ARP bolts holding it to the frame. I hope this cherry picker and I are done because I really want to get this thing dressed. All right, I'm gonna let that black RTV dry, go get a shower, take my wife out, spoil her rotten. I hope y'all have a good weekend, and we will see y'all in the next one.